This video is about Symphony No. 100 Military Symphony by Joseph Haydn. I will explain the most important things about the work and the composer. Joseph Haydn composed his Symphony No. 100 in G major, known as the Military Symphony, in 1793 or 1794. It is one of the famous London symphonies that Haydn wrote for his second trip to London. The nickname Military Symphony came about because of the prominent use of military instruments in the second and fourth movements. Haydn composed the work at the height of his career, when he was already internationally famous. The symphony reflects his mastery and innovative spirit. The Military Symphony follows the classical four-movement structure. The first movement is an allegro in sonata form with a slow introduction. The second movement, an allegretto, contains the famous military elements. The third movement is a typical minuet with trio. The fourth movement, a presto, picks up the military sounds again and brings the work to a powerful conclusion. Each movement has its own character, but together they form a coherent musical whole. The second movement of the Military Symphony is particularly noteworthy. Haydn introduces unusual instruments here: triangle, cymbals, and bass drum. These instruments were associated with Turkish military music at the time. Their use creates a surprising and exotic sound effect. The movement begins quietly, but builds to dramatic climaxes with the military instruments. Haydn thus creates a contrast between peace and warlike sounds. In the Military Symphony, Haydn demonstrates his mastery of orchestration. He uses a large orchestra for the time, with strings, woodwinds, horns, trumpets, and timpani. The addition of military instruments greatly expands the range of sounds. Haydn skillfully uses the different instrument groups to create contrasts and surprise effects. He alternates between delicate and powerful passages, creating a varied soundscape. The premiere of the Military Symphony took place in London on March 31, 1794. It was a great success with the audience. The military elements in the second movement in particular were enthusiastically received. A contemporary critic wrote that the audience was so moved that they almost jumped out of their seats. The symphony quickly became popular and was performed frequently. It cemented Haydn's reputation as the leading symphonist of his time. The Military Symphony is an important work in Haydn's symphonic output. It demonstrates his ability to integrate innovative elements into classical form. The symphony represents Haydn's late style, characterized by complexity, wit, and surprise effects. It is an example of his art of combining serious and entertaining elements. The Military Symphony influenced subsequent composers in their treatment of the orchestra and the use of programmatic elements. Haydn's musical language in the Military Symphony is varied and expressive. He uses catchy melodies, complex harmonies, and rhythmic variety. The symphony contains both lyrical and dramatic passages. Haydn plays with the audience's expectations and surprises them with unexpected turns. The military elements are not just sound effects, but an integral part of the musical structure. The Military Symphony was written during a period of political unrest in Europe. The French Revolution and the wars that followed it shaped public consciousness. Haydn's use of military sounds can be seen as a reflection of these events. At the same time, Turkish music was very popular in Europe. Haydn thus catered to the tastes of the London audience without being superficial. He combined current trends with his own musical depth. The Military Symphony is now part of the standard repertoire of many orchestras. Modern performances vary in their interpretation of the military elements. Some conductors emphasize the dramatic aspect, others the humorous. The symphony is often used in concert programs to demonstrate Haydn's versatility. It remains a popular work that fascinates both musicians and listeners with its liveliness and originality.